Right then guys, how's it going, and welcome back to a new video and to the return of your football predictions for the 2020-21 Premier League season. If you are new to the channel or you're new to the series, basically I've done this for a few years now, and every week you guys go up against me to see who can get the most correct predictions for the upcoming weekend of Premier League football. So today is 1 week until the Premier League restarts. And just before we get into the predictions for the weekend, I want to quickly shout out two people from my last video, which was for the FA Cup final. And the winners are Geordie, and I'm going to have to call you Aguero. I'm sorry, I don't know what language your name is in. But well done to you two for getting the correct scores from my last predictions video. And remember, if you want to be shouted out in my next predictions video, be sure to get all of your predictions down in the comments below for the Premier League games coming up this weekend. As always, I will go through all of your predictions and I will shout out the winner in my next video. But as always, we will go through all of the games happening this weekend. I will give you my prediction, and as I say, come a week's time, we'll find out who got the most correct scores. Right then, so the first game back for the Premier League is on Saturday, a week today, 12:30, and it is Fulham taking on Arsenal. So Fulham back up to the Premier League after winning their Championship playoff match. I mean, return to the Premier League, first game, Arsenal, it's not the nicest of starts, to be honest, but they are playing at home, and I do believe in like the promotion oomph. You know, the promoted teams always come out strong because they are buzzing to be back in the Premier League. So, you know, I do think they've got a fighting chance, but as I say, it won't be easy. They have made a couple of signings with still a little bit of time to go. They've managed to keep Knockhart, who they had on loan. They've brought him in permanently now. Looking at Arsenal, they didn't have maybe the season they wanted last season, finishing in 8th place, but they did win the FA Cup, and we actually saw them win the Charity Shield against Liverpool as well. So I think they will be feeling quite good coming into the new season, having beaten Liverpool in that Charity Shield game. I do think Arteta is starting to have a bit of an impact on the team now, and I do think that maybe Arsenal will be stepping it up for this incoming season. In terms of signings, they brought Willian in on a free, which I think is a pretty good signing. He looked really good at Chelsea last season. And they've also brought in that new defender, Gabriel, from Lille. A bit of money spent on him as well. So in terms of a prediction, I have backed Arsenal 2-1. First game of the season, I sometimes think it's a bit of a lottery. You never, especially with such a short summer, some teams are going to be fighting fit, some players might be injured or still coming back from holiday and all that kind of thing. The England squad are meeting up at the minute. You know, I think it's crazy, but who knows? I've backed Arsenal 2-1. Next up on the Saturday at 3 o'clock, we have got Crystal Palace taking on Southampton. So Crystal Palace finished in 14th place. I think they'll be pretty happy with that. I think Crystal Palace started actually making a decent push into the top half of the table, and then for whatever reason, the end of the season just finished so flat. I think there was a point when they hadn't won a game in about 6 coming to the end of the season. So, you know, I think it's one of them. It was a very strange season last season. I think they'll just chalk it off. We've stayed in the Prem. Let's come back next year and try and improve. In terms of signings, they have brought in, oh god, pronunciation on these, Eze, E-Z-E, £20 million midfielder they're hoping is going to try and add to the squad for the coming season. In terms of Southampton, they finished in 11th place. And I mean, a fantastic season for Southampton. Danny Ings was the big factor there. If you've got a goal scorer, it makes all the difference. Like, honestly, I know as a Newcastle fan, if you've got a goal scorer, it definitely can make a difference. And Danny Ings was fantastic. They are going to hope he can continue that. I mean, I've heard people talking, saying, can he, can't he? I think if he starts the season well, I think he definitely can. If you can keep that confidence high and that form up, Southampton could have a really good season. In terms of their signings, they brought in a new fullback, Walker Peters from Spurs, which I think is decent. And then in terms of a prediction for this one, again, first game of the season, it could go either way for me. But I have put Southampton to win 1-0, Danny Ings goal. Next up, again at 3 o'clock on the Saturday, we have got West Ham taking on Newcastle. So West Ham finished in 16th place last season, avoided the relegation. I think at the start of the season, they probably would have hoped to have been doing better than just avoiding relegation. But as the season kind of ended, it actually did look pretty touch and go for West Ham at one point. So similar to Crystal Palace, I think it's one of those, it was a weird season, chalk it off. Let's kick on this season. They've brought in that Soucek, who, again, I think looks pretty good. They're going to be wanting to be improving on just not getting relegated. You know, they're going to want to try and fight up that table this season. Newcastle, again, 13th, which, to be honest, doesn't sound too bad, finishing 13th, near mid-table. But again, you know, happy to not be relegated, to be honest. And I mentioned Southampton with the goal scorer. Danny Ings scoring those goals took Southampton all the way up to 11th. You know, Newcastle managed to get 13th without a goal scorer. Joe Linton scored 2. Gale got about 4 at the end of the season when it was kind of over. Shelby's got 6, you know. I am recording this a night on the Friday night. You're watching this on the Saturday morning, so you never know. Maybe by tomorrow morning we might have signed a striker. But this is the thing for me, is if we're going into the new season in a week's time with no one to play up front, basically. Joe Linton's been quarantined, Gale's injured, Andy Carroll's always injured, Muto is nowhere to be seen. So yeah, it's a scary thing to start the season without anyone to score a goal, to be honest. We have brought Jeff Hendrick in on a free, which I think is decent. We are linked with Fraser. He was a free agent from Bournemouth previously, so still time. And if we can bring in someone like Fraser and maybe Callum Wilson or anyone who can play up front, maybe we could do all right. But currently 4th favourite to get relegated isn't the start you want. So, in terms of prediction, it's first game of the season. I'm a Newcastle supporter, so I've gone 1-1. West Ham fans probably won't agree with that. Newcastle fans might not agree with that. But I do think we've got a shot. We've got decent players. And if we could start the season well, maybe we can do something. Moving on again on the Saturday, but at 5:30, we've got a good one because it's the Premier League winners, Liverpool, taking on the Championship winners, Leeds. It happens quite often, this, for some reason. The Championship Premier League winners play each other. And obviously, Liverpool, great season for them last season. Didn't finish maybe as strong as they would have wanted to. It was a weird season. Once they won the title, they kind of faded off a little bit, but they did what they wanted to do. They did lose in the Charity Shield against Arsenal, as I mentioned, but again, you sometimes don't know. Sometimes, you know, you play a friendly or a Charity Shield match, you lose, maybe that gives you the kick up the arse to actually get in gear for the start of the season. In terms of signings, I don't think they've made a whole lot. I think they've signed a new left back, which I'm assuming is cover for Robertson, because I'm sure he's not getting dropped. And then in terms of Leeds, almost the opposite. They have gone crazy with signings. They've brought in that Rodrigo from Valencia, 27 million. Costa has come in. You know, Leeds are going for it, and I do really credit them for it. You know, I talked about Newcastle being 4th favourite to get relegated. I think Leeds are back to finishing mid-table. And in fairness, we saw what Wolves have done, what Sheffield United have done. Who's to say Leeds can't go and do it as well? In terms of this game, the thing is, it's a big occasion, and there's no fans there, which is such a shame. And that's as big a question as any: is when are the fans going to be allowed to actually go back and watch these games again? I think Leeds will definitely give it a good go. They're just promoted. They're going to want to beat Liverpool. Let's be honest, they're going to be so up for this game. But I've backed Liverpool 2-0. It's hard to tell because the season's not even started. We haven't seen what is going to come out of these two teams. But I just think Liverpool have got such good quality. Let me know what you think in the comments. Moving on to the Sunday at 2 o'clock. We have got another promoted side, West Brom, taking on Leicester. So West Brom finished second in the Championship. And I was talking about odds to get relegated. West Brom are joint favourites to go down this season. I think the other favourite is Fulham. So as I say, as much as there was a Sheffield United who kicked on and did fantastic, there was also a Norwich who went straight back down again. So what will happen with West Brom, we just don't quite know yet. I think in terms of signings, they had Pereira on loan, who they have now kept as a permanent, so that's good news. Again, they will have that promotion buzz. They are at the home stadium, but Leicester are a very good side. They obviously finished 5th in the league last season. They are going to want to try and push for that 4th spot as possible. I mean, it's going to be another very tight season. You know, we used to have like the top 4. It was always the top 4. Now we're looking at like the top 6, the top 7. You know, and it's great to see other teams challenging for those Champions League spots. It makes it a lot more entertainment as a neutral Newcastle fan who's getting nowhere near there to see who is going to do it. I've seen people saying, you know, is Vardy getting too old? And I mean, this is a conversation that comes up every single year, and every single year Vardy scores more goals. So I really don't have too much to worry about there, I don't think. They did sell Chilwell to Chelsea, but have brought in a new left-back, Castagni. God, I'm so sorry. So they brought an instant replacement in, which is obviously good news for them. I've gone Leicester 2-0. As I say, West Brom's first game in the Prem, they are going to be seriously up for this game. But again, if Leicester are up for it too, I think the quality will show through. Next up, again on the Sunday, but at 4:30, we have got Spurs taking on Everton. So, Spurs finished 6th last year. Again, maybe not. Well, it's not where they wanted to be. They wanted to be in the top 4. But they did show signs of improvement through to the end of the season. I think when Mourinho came in, it was a little bit up and down, but I think they did finish the season strong. And they have brought in Doherty from Wolves, the right back, who I think will drastically improve Spurs. That's one thing that we kind of did see with them coming into the end of the season with no Mourinho. You know, we say he doesn't play the most fantastic football. I think one thing Spurs had the trouble with was defensively. You know, I think Mourinho has improved that. He's been looking at Dyer playing in more of a centre-back role. Aurier, the right-back, was not the most consistent. And I think Doherty will be an advantage for them there. Also, not too football related, but their Amazon series is out. I've not actually seen it, but I've already seen the memes of Jose Mourinho and it looks pretty good. So, does that affect this game? Probably not, but there you go. Although, as I say, England are meeting up and playing games right now. Harry Kane is there. This goes for all the games. You know, I'm making these predictions possibly too early. I'm sure he won't, but, you know, tiredness, injury, and all those things could play a factor there. So keep an eye out for that. In terms of Everton, they finished 12th last season, you know, which I think will definitely be a disappointing finish for them. Again, they finished 12th. It was a weird season, like the others. Chalk it off and let's get going again. In terms of signings, I don't think Everton have done a whole lot. So are they happy with the way things are, or do they need to make signings? I don't know. Calvert-Lewin, the youngster who has kind of come good, has looked good for them. In terms of a prediction, I've gone 1-0 Spurs. Again, I'm kind of basing it on nothing, to be honest. I think Spurs finished their season well. I think Everton finished the last season poorly. So, with that, I think Spurs is the choice. But, maybe this could be Everton's season, who knows. Moving on to the Monday night at 8 o'clock, we have got Brighton taking on Chelsea. So again, Brighton stayed up. They finished in 15th place last season, which again, I think they will be happy with. It's another year in the Premier League. It's a funny one, to be fair, because I don't think anyone is ever happy to just stay in the Premier League. It's more the fact that you're like, phew, we've stayed in, but we need to now go and do something else. And as I mentioned, like Southampton, Crystal Palace, Brighton and Newcastle, it's never what you want to be happy with just staying in the Premier League. But as I said, it was a weird season. Brighton are going to want to go and push on a little bit. They have made a handful of signings. They've got Lallana in on a free, which I thought was a really good signing. I mean, we haven't seen too much of Lallana in the last few seasons, but if you can conjure up anything like he used to play like at Southampton, I think, on a free as well, that's really good. And talking to teams who have made a handful of signings, Chelsea, who they're playing, they have gone pretty wild with the signings. Obviously, they finished 4th last season, which I think was a fantastic season for them. Frank Lampard at the helm, transfer ban, using the youngsters, Tammy Abraham and all that, really kind of getting an idea of who is good enough and who isn't to be at the club. I think it's almost like a cleanse. I don't think it's a bad idea for other clubs to try it. Newcastle, when we secured safety, I thought we should just, at that point, with the last 6 games, just get everyone out there on the pitch. Who is right to keep, who isn't. And Lampard has such a good idea now of where people are fitting into that squad and where he needed to make additions. And he's certainly done that. Werner, Chilwell left back, Silva on a free. It's centre back, Saw. Yeah, they have gone for it here. And Chelsea and Brighton actually played a friendly, and I think Chelsea won 1-0. And that was one of those tests to have fans in the ground. So what the answer of that was, I'm not sure. Although it didn't look too great with one person sat 20 seats away from the next person, was all a bit weird. But anyway, I've gone 3-0 Chelsea. You never know. Maybe Bournemouth can pull it. Brighton can pull it out the bag. I said they have made some signings, but so have Chelsea, and I think they are going to be very good this season. And to finish it off again on the Monday night, again at 8 o'clock, we have got Sheffield United taking on Wolves. So again, two teams here who were great to watch last season. Wolves the season before that as well. Straight out from the Championship, and all of a sudden in the midst of Europa League spots, potentially even Champions League spots at points in the season. That was what will give hope to Fulham, West Brom, and Leeds. Can they go out and do something similar? I mean, Sheffield United finished 9th last season, and I actually think that is. It makes it sound like they didn't do as good as they actually did. For a long time they were in that 5th, 6th, 7th spot in that Europa League area, and did not finish the season well. Again, they had the break, came back, didn't really play as well as they had been. If they can come out this season and start the way they did last season, maybe they can get into those Europa League spots. Wolves finished 7th. Again, fantastic season for them. 2 fantastic seasons in a row now. I fully expect them to have as good a season this season. The only thing is that they have had a bit of defensive drama because Doherty's gone to Spurs. I don't think it's too bad of a trade-off. I think they got a very decent price for him, or a good price for him. But I'm sure they've got some injuries at the back, and I don't know if they're bringing players in. We'll have to see. But in terms of a prediction, I've bottled it and just gone 1-1. So yeah, predictions in down below for all of those games. Those are all of my predictions up there. So as I say, get all of your predictions in for those games down in the comments. The Premier League starts a week today. And the first game is at 12:30 when Fulham take on Arsenal. So at 12:25 next Saturday, I will make a note of all of your comments, all of your predictions, and then I will find the winner who got the most correct scores and shout out the winner in my next predictions video. So I hope all of you guys have enjoyed this video. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you are new to the channel, you are new to the series, and you want to see some more football predictions. As I say, comments in down below, shout out the winner in the next video, and yeah, cannot wait for the Premier League to get started again. Obviously, it's quite sad that we won't actually be there for the games, but it's always nice to have football on. And be sure to look out for a few more videos coming up. I'm going to have a Premier League preview, and I've also got my fantasy football videos coming out as well. So if you're not joining my fantasy football league, be sure to do that too. Alright, again, predictions in the comments. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you later.